afternoon. This is your Sew It Seamstress, and today I'm going to cover hanging drapes or shears. And there are different kinds of hardware that you can get to hang your curtains or your shears. Most of the times you'll have a rod that looks kind of like this, like a U, big wide U. I just found out they actually do make the darker ones, the black or brown ones, which is great if you want to keep it underneath dark curtains. I've made some real dark burgundy shears for these windows. The different kinds of hardware you'll come across are these little guys that come with the rods. It has wood screws and then the two hook sides. And this is for a single rod because it has one single hook for it. Now if I was going to use those, these would require making sure you hit a stud. Now what I mean by a stud is something solid behind your drywall, or sheetrock as some people call it. And sometimes you don't always have that right around the frame of the window. Normally, where this wood is, you would have a wood frame to frame the window in. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Just depends on how old your house is and if they went by certain codes and things like that. Then there is these they're called cafe rod holders. And cafe rod meaning it's a little skinny rod and it fits right in this little cutout right here. And then you need a screw there, screw there. If you don't have to mount these above, if you want to mount them above the frame of the window because you have really long curtains, and in that case you would need what's called a molly. Well, it's a plastic gizmo. I don't know if I have one in here or not. But anyway, you have to draw a pilot hole in your wall, tap that plastic piece in there, and it's got ridges on it. And as you screw in the screw to anchor down your rod holder, it expands and makes it wider behind it so that it doesn't tear out. If you're using really heavy rods, definitely make sure that you're either getting it into a wood stud inside the wall, or get the mollies to make sure that you're going to anchor it down and it's not going to tear from the weight of the rod. I am going to be putting in here a double window treatment, meaning I'm going to have shears and then I'm going to make the drapes to go on the outside. So they also have a rod holder that has two cutouts. One for the inner rod, one for the outer rod. The outer rod is a little bit bigger on these and smaller on the inside. There are very nice decorative rods that you can get. These have the little swirl or S on this end of it, which I like because it's so what. They expand. First thing you want to do when you're going to go ahead and hang up your curtains is you want to measure your window width from here to here, the outside of the frame. Reason why you measure the outside of the frame is because your curtain rods, if you get the less expensive ones that are just made like this and molded aluminum, this curvature here has to come around it. And if you go ahead and put your hardware into the wood frame, then you're going to have holes in the wood frame. So let's say you go to move and then you got to patch up all those holes, which you don't want to do that. So these guys here that I discovered, I didn't know they had such a thing. They're called a tap-in curtain rod holder. It has two nails already in it, and it's squared up. It's perfectly squared to fit around the corner of the window. I have one up there right now. I'm going to show you how to put these in. This is made so that the nails go into the wood frame of the window itself, the molding part. It doesn't go into the wall, it goes into the wood. So the wood is solid, and it's going to stay put. And it's going to be able to hold a lot of weight. So to install these, I'm going to pull this ladder a little closer because I'm so short. You just need a regular hammer, just a regular hammer. And you go up, and you place that 90-degree angle with the nails butt up against the wall, flush with the wall, and then you tap that into the wood frame. I'm going to hold it like this, get it started. Now what I'm doing is the back and forth hammering. In other words, I'm hammering the outside now first, hammer the inside, then go back and forth, so that it goes in evenly. And you hammer this down until it is flush with the top of the wood molding. And now it's there and it's not going anywhere. So, I did the other one on the other side earlier. And now, because I've used this type of hardware to hang my curtains, I'm using a certain kind of curtain rod. I'm not going to be using these little guys. I use these in another room, probably. I may even use them in the kitchen. I may use them on the other window, I don't know. Because I have one decorative rod for this window. So there's that kind of rod. And then this is going to be for the curtains. This is going to go on the outside. It has a really pretty little kind of diamond shaped end on it, nodule. And these expand, but if you have a really big end and you have a very small casing on your curtain, don't worry about it. These always come with 1-inch screws off so you can fit it through. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit it through the casing I have. We'll find out in a minute. When it comes to shears, you don't need a huge hem at the bottom. You can actually do a 1-inch, 2-inch. You can even do a 5/8 inch hem if you just want to give it more length. On these, what I did was I did a 1.5 inch hem. I didn't have the exact same color thread for these. I still have pins in here. Figure, right? I still got pins in it. Taking these pins out. And what I did was I did a double stitch in a burgundy thread that just kind of pops. It's a little brighter color. When you're matching up your thread for your drapes, whether it's shears, unless you want to get really funky with it, try to get as close to the color that you have. And if it's a little shade lighter, but still blends in, that's perfect. These, I could not find a thread that was exactly what I wanted. But when I stitched them, there's a brighter reddish purple thread in these that it pulls out. So it actually works. And you only see it on the ends and the top anyway. Ends, top, and the bottom. So I need to take out the other pins on this one. I left all the pins in here. Can't believe that. So your bottom hem of shears, you want to make about a 1.5 inch hem is a very nice width. It's not too thin, not too, overpowering. And for your top, I like to have a 1-inch ruffle edge. And what I mean by 1-inch ruffle edge is that where the rod is going to rest from this top crease, 1 inch down, I'm going to have a 1-inch little ruffle go all the way across the top. When you're making curtains or shears, when you measure your window, double that measurement or 2.5 times it, and that's how you want the width be. Each panel will be a window width plus a half. And that way you'll have that fullness, you'll have that ruffle at the top. And you'll see when I get these up there. So, since these are the shears, and they're going on the back part of it, now, these ends should fit through the casing that I did. I turned down on these 3¼ inches. A lot of people turn down 5 inches, 6 inches, whatever. The more formal heavy drapes, you probably do about 6 inches, turn it down, and then have, so that you can put a really big, nice, thick, kind of decorative rod inside if you want to. And just allow for it. I didn't even trim these threads off here. I'll do that. But, so I have a 1 inch and I have a 2 inch and an 1/8 space below it. So as long as this, the fattest part of the end, isn't bigger than that and it's flat, it'll fit through there. And you're just going to fish it in there. Fish it through there like that. And then I'm going to add the second panel on it before I even hang it up. panel over here. What I did was, since they, this is a crinkle type of gauze, sheer gauze or crinkle polyester. Some people call it wrinkle polyester or wrinkle gauze, just because it gives it a nice little texture look. That it tends to slide around. It's slippery. Polyester will slide around. Satin slides. This stuff slides around. So when you go to make two panels equally the same length and width and all of that, just pin it every 3 inches around all 4 edges, and then use your straight edge, the rotary cutter, and make them even. That's what I did with these, because when I first laid them out, even though I measured them both the same length, I went to pull them up and the one end was longer than the other, and I said, well, that's not going to work. So I laid them out, pinned them up on all 4 sides, got my straight edge, and then cut them so that they were both exactly the same length and width. Okay, so now this is all nice and gathered on that one rod. I'm going to take this like this, come up here, and I'm going to rest it so that that curly end is just on the outside, just like that, and scoot each panel across, making sure that the center is in the center of the window, and then make my little ruffle up here so that I have a nice little ruffled top, just like that. So putting these brackets on the outside, on that corner tap-in bracket gives you the coverage on the edge of the window. In other words, it comes around the frame, just like that. And it does it on both sides. And I have some beautiful burgundy, heavier weight material that's going to go on the outside, and it's going to rest right here. And then I'll make some tiebacks from that, and then we'll have a lovely burgundy room. I'm not crazy about the color of the walls in here, and I haven't told my husband that I want to change it. So I want to brighten it up. I want, instead of this, I call it doe skin brown, or tan, I would like to go with a light eggshell, maybe with a little bit of this burgundy tint to it, to give this a nice, lovely, comfy, cozy kind of feel. On these curtains, since I don't like 84-inch long curtains because they drag on the floor. Doesn't matter what you do, it seems like they always drag on the floor. Then you're either letting them sit on the floor and get all dirty, or you can shorten them, which I typically used to do. Now I just make my own all the time. And for these, this window is about 64 inches from the inside of the molding, actually outside of the molding, to the bottom of the molding of the windowsill. So what I did was I added another 12 inches. So, I did 12 or let me see, 64, 80, 16 inches, excuse me, to make them 80 inches long. Is that right? 64. I'm sorry, that's a 48-inch window. 48 plus, anyway, they ended up being 72 inches. 72 is a really nice length. Especially if you have a really decorative kind of molding at the bottom. And this is just 1970s molding, just like what's around the window. It's all around the bottom of the floor. So if you have a really pretty molding on the bottom and you want to show it off, well then make sure you make your curtains like 80 inches. And leave that extra 4 inches showing. For me, since I want to paint the walls, I want to show some more wall color. And what I'm going to do is have it, I've got a good 10 inches below the bottom of these curtains to be able to show off that color up underneath them. And when I do the outer curtains and with the tie backs, you'll have that double effect. I haven't decided if I'm going to do actually the curtains or I'll do a valance. I'm debating. I may just do a drapey kind of thing, so it looks like curtains and a valance. So if you have a preference, or if you would, I'd love your suggestion. I really don't know how I want to finish. I know that I've got this second rod that goes up there. It's going to go just like this Okay? So give you an idea. And then there's going to be either a valance created or 2 panels with tie backs, maybe a decorative tie back. But I would love for you to put in the comments what you would like to see me do. I'm all up for other creative minds out there. And when I get started with projects like this, sometimes I start with one thing and I go and I do it, and then I go, I don't want to do that. So please leave in the comments what you think I should do to finish this window off. And there's 2 windows in here. So I've got 2 windows to do. And I would love to have your input on how to finish them. Please, if you like this video, give me a good little thumbs up. Share this video with your other friends. And I do have a video on making heavy drapes. But if you'd like to see these kind of drapes being made, let me know. I've got a lot more fabric to make more. And definitely subscribe so that you can keep up with what I'm doing. And now I'm into home decor. And then I'm going to be doing accessories like these little guys. I do this because it helps to stay nice and cool when you're making stuff. And when you're working in a warm room. Thankfully, I have a ceiling fan above my head. So get out your sewing machine. Give it a whack. And those kind of holders are the best. I can't wait to get more for the rest of the house. Because if it's a big if we were ever to sell the house, there wouldn't be any damage to the walls, no holes to fill, no extra work. Just like pack up and go, right? That's the whole point. But we don't plan on going anywhere. But I do plan on continue keeping on sewing. See you next time. Make sure you hit that like button, share it, and subscribe. And God bless, and see you at the sewing machine.